Hello folks, and welcome back. For those of you who skipped the preliminary video, just to catch you up real quickly, all we did was we allied Crimea, we set Hungary, Austria, and the Mamluks as our rivals. Tomorrow we will ally Bohemia, and today we will declare war on Byzantium. We've trained a few troops, and the last thing I'm going to do, sort of before I kick things in, this requires an expansion, by the way, for those of you unfamiliar with the game, but you can set a national focus. This will take 2 points away from the other two monarch point classes to add +2 to a specific other class. In this case, the Ottomans start off with a focus set on military power. I'm going to change it to administrative power. We're going to be taking over some land here early on, and I want administrative points to core things. I'm going to start off sending my troops over here. We're going to declare war on Byzantium, take Constantinople. See, we will gain 25 piety for attacking the Orthodox. Anyone you attack who is not the same type of religion as you, if you are a Muslim group, will increase your piety. And by same type, I mean anyone who isn't Sunni. If you attack a Shia or an Ibadi Muslim nation, you'll still gain piety because they're heretics. But you'll lose piety for attacking other Sunni. And here we're gaining 25 piety for attacking these terrible, terrible Orthodox. Now, we're going to move the speed up. This is a real-time strategy game, but you can pause the game, and you can set how fast, dynamically, the game moves. We're going to move up to speed 3. That's where we're mostly going to stay. 3 in war, and early on, 4, generally speaking. And here we go. Whoa, okay. Crimea has decided to reject. That's fair. That's fair. I'd forgotten that that was going to happen. Oh well, not a big deal. Bohemia, likewise, will not join our war. That's fine. After the war is over, we can ally them. Hopefully we don't get attacked in the meantime. I'm going to take our navy here, which is larger and stronger than the Byzantine navy, and we're going to go try to blockade Constantinople. Hopefully Athens won't come in and wreck our day. I'm going to put our military leader. As the Ottomans, we start off with one. We start off with actually quite a good leader in charge. They're going to move a little bit faster. We won't need his help against Athens. And yeah, just going to, one more thing. Because we have the Mamluks rivaled, just in case we happen to get in a war, I'm going to begin fabricating a claim on, say, Antioch. Again, a claim is just a explanation for going to war. In this game, it's a casus belli. Down here, we can see this is a battle that's currently going on. The way battles are handled in this game, the game itself lays out your troop placement. Athens here has 3 infantry. They are lined in the middle of the first line of combat. There's a second line of combat. The only thing that can attack in the second line is artillery, which has not been unlocked in 1444. Combat width, which is how many units can fight at a time, is determined by your military technology, and it can also be affected by the terrain. For instance, mountains here give a 50% reduction to combat width. And we have 3 infantry regiments here. So we are lined up 3 of our infantry regiments to fight them. However, cavalry can attack. They start off being able to attack 2 units in a flanking attack. So our cavalry is to the side. Our inside cavalry here can attack 2 separate infantry regiments. Our outside cavalry can only hit the 1. And likewise on this other side. We sent in too many troops because I want to go ahead and break off sieges here as much as I can. So the rest of the guys are sort of just standing around. They can't actually hit anyone. This shows how much discipline you have. Discipline increases your damage, and the casualties you inflict. It also modifies your tactics. which becomes more, the higher base tactics you have, the more actual impact you get from discipline. It's not very great early in the game. Tactics, again, just reduces how much damage you take. Morale is the amount of morale your troops can lose. If the bar goes empty, the unit is either sent into a shattered retreat and they run, way away and they can't be interacted with until they get there, or if you have not fought for 2 full cycles, the unit will be killed. All troops inside of it will die. What do I mean by a cycle? There is a fire phase and a shock phase, and they each last, I think it's 3 days, and your troops have a number of pips in each of those sections. To start off with, shock is much more powerful. As the game goes on, fire becomes more and more important, and the units will do damage to each other in each of the phases. So we had a massive numbers advantage here. We easily killed all of their infantry. We reduced their morale to nothing, and then we just killed them. Here we have a naval battle, which works similarly but different. For one thing, fire and shock are just exactly the same in naval battles. The amount of damage they do is always the same, regardless. In this case, we actually have an advantage in number of total boats, but mousing over here, we can see that this is broken down into heavy ships, light ships, galleys, and this plus is telling us that we're in an inland sea tile, which means a galley will do more damage, and transports. Transports have crap for weaponry, as you would imagine, and so the fact that we outnumber them in transports isn't doing us much good. Athens did jump in here. They have a pretty decent leader, and we have none, so we're probably going to end up running from this fight as soon as we can, which will be, let's see, the 30th of November. Meanwhile, we're going to break off a siege here and advance. We have arrived in Edirne. We're going to march on Constantinople. Break off a siege, advance again. We're going to siege down Constantinople, and I'll let this fight go on much longer than I needed to. Actually, I'm just gonna, let's see. This is a breakdown of every ship and what percentage of damage it is taking. So, currently, our lowest ship is at 69%, right? Nope, 65%. There's a 34 on a galley. I'm gonna let one more tick go by. That galley's getting low. We're just gonna run to Edirne. We came out ahead in that fight, actually. We sunk 1 light ship, we sunk 3 galleys, and we only lost a single light ship. We may have been able to come out better in that fight, but it's no big deal. We lost a little prestige for losing the battle, but we gained naval tradition, which over time builds up and ticks down. It plays off each other, and will give us things like morale and so forth for our navy. Likewise, Byzantium gained on those same things. This last flag is for war exhaustion. We gained 0.1 war exhaustion, which is not a real concern. So, yeah, I'm actually going to take and improve relations with Bohemia. Achaia, okay. Just going to pull back here. I don't really need... How many men do I need to siege this fort? Okay, I can't really get away from attrition there. I'm going to hold this last diplomat in reserve. Our units have come in. Going to form them up. Aquaonly declared on Dulkadir. Alright. I'm not going to send any more troops in here. We don't need them for the siege, and in occupied territory, you take what's called attrition. This is just manpower lost to various reasons. It can be to to winters, or there's a base amount to sieges, but say you were up in, say Sweden or North Russia, out in Siberia, you would lose men to the winter. And this is just sort of, people go missing. Austria has allied Aragon. That is bad for us. Kandar and Karaman, that's no big deal. So yeah, I would rather not take additional attrition here. Constantinople can hold many people. That is another way to take attrition, by the way. The supply limit. Each province has supply limit. If you have more units, more total regiment numbers in that province than that amount, you will suffer advanced attrition up to 5%. And while 5% may sound like a low amount, manpower is one of the most restrictive and most important factors in the game. So it's very, very key that you try to cut down manpower loss to attrition whenever possible. It is a little unfortunate that this siege is holding up one of the galleys I had queued up, but that's not really a big deal. And I'm just going to let them siege. I don't need to kill their army. I'm just going to siege down both of their forts. And if they siege down one of mine, that's absolutely fine. This is Wallachia. They are fabricating a claim on us. We discovered them, so they will suffer I believe their time, the time it takes for them to fabricate that claim is now quartered. Yeah, we're suffering some losses here. Anytime you get this note, this is just letting you know that your forces have suffered losses. Probably there was, yes, a disease outbreak, means a tick of attrition. I believe it's a set amount. I don't remember the amount right offhand, but it's pretty rough on all of your troops in the province. It is a very bad event. There are several events that happen during the course of a siege. The best one is walls breached, but several of them can either improve the speed at which you siege. Some of them can hurt the speed at which you siege, such as the disease outbreak. And there are some, let's see, yes, here we have walls breached. That's a +2. And what that means is whenever this gets up to a set amount, I believe it changes on the fort level. I could be wrong. Whenever you get this number to a set amount, you take the siege. So every bonus you can get is a huge, huge amount. Okay, so Poland, as I mentioned at the start of this game, the Battle of Varna had just happened. Poland and Hungary had a single king, who was the king of Poland. He died in the Battle of Varna, meaning Poland had no king. They did not have an heir to Vladislav when he died. So in the search for who was going to replace them, they have chosen to take, I believe it's a noble from Lithuania. The way this ends up working out is that Poland, who is not a small nation on their own, has gained a personal union over Lithuania, which basically means, for most intents and purposes, it's slightly different, but we can consider it as Lithuania has now become a part of Poland. This is bad. This is very bad for us as someone who has ideas to turn this way. This is a large force that is now allied against us. If a Polish king dies while they have negative prestige, this tie will be automatically broken. So what we want to do is, if there's any way we can get an alliance formed that we feel is strong enough to defeat Poland, we'd like to get over there, make them lose battles, which again lowers their prestige, and hopefully a war, because again, if you take provinces and demands away from a country, they again lose prestige and get their prestige negative and try to break that up. Meanwhile, we're just kind of hanging around. I'm going to improve relations with France, just on the idea that maybe later on we can do something with that. All right. I'm going to take my navy. I'm going to move it here. I do not actually see the rest of... Yeah, there is part of their navy. We're going to pretty easily... This is bad. Where is Castoria? Castoria's right there. These are random events that can fire. And some random events are good, some are bad. This one is... Every option we have here is bad. And they can be different every time. You can get multiple of one over the course of a game. They add a level of interest to every playthrough, even if you play the same country multiple times. In this one, noble family feud. Violence amongst leading families within a state was never far from the surface. Often this instability would boil over into open conflict. The result was less than a full-blown civil war, but could immensely disturb the stability of a state. Now we can side with one family, in which case 6 noble regiments rise up in revolt in Castoria, which is here and which is mountainous. That would be very costly for us. We can let them fight it out. We gain 25% local autonomy in Kuthaya, which is somewhere. It is definitely somewhere. There it is. Which is a very highly developed province. Local autonomy basically means reduced input from the main governing body and increased control by local authorities, like a governor. And the higher autonomy you have, the bigger loss you have to trade power, shipbuilding and recruitment time, production efficiency, tax modifier, and local manpower modifier. So you get way less money and way less manpower boost from a province for taking that. Lastly, we could lose 33 diplomatic power, even though monarch points are one of the most important things in the game. Because we don't have a way to lower autonomy right now, it only lowers during peace unless you have specific ideas. I'm going to lose the diplomatic power because we're going to be in war for quite a while, I do believe. And yes, we won that naval battle. I'm going to take our 2 new ships. Good, good, good. Yeah, Athens is in port. I'm going to take our 2 new ships, going to combine this all together. And let's see. How much do we need to siege this fort? I need 9 troops. I'm going to break off. If I right-click here, I can take half of an army. I'm actually going to leave. I want to leave 10 guys in case there's another disease outbreak. What is this? 3 and 2. Yeah, that's fine. I'll have 7 and 2. I'll be okay with that. I'm gonna walk these guys around. And I'm going to join that navy up. There are Serbian pretender rebels and Serbian peasants, which are another type of rebel, fighting each other in Serbia. They're not having a good time. Athens has fallen. We'll take this combined army. We'll group them up. And we will cross the strait here. Anytime you see these red lines, like you see here between Constantinople and Kassali, or Edirne and Biga, or Biga and Chios here, which is owned by Genoa, that is a strait. It can be blocked by ships in the adjoining sea, but in the case of, say, Edirne and Biga, because we own both sides of this strait, we can cross even if the Byzantines or anyone we were at war with was blockading the Sea of Marmara here. That is a new feature for anyone who has played the game before. Hungary has allied with Florence. No big deal. That's a recent change to the way the game handles blockades. Now, hopefully, we will be taking this province soon. Moldavia has now been designated into a vassal by their overlord Poland. Now, I believe Moldavia starts as a march under Poland, which means Poland took a pretty severe penalty in changing their status. But that means he gets tax income from them, but their manpower and their force limit are reduced. They are less effective as a military ally, but more effective as sort of an underling now. We're just waiting until Constantinople sieges here. Taking Constantinople is our main goal. Anyway, let's see, what do we need to siege here? Well, it's a level 2 fort, so I need 6 guys. That'll work. I'll just send 7 infantry. Leaves me with... I'm a little concerned if a fight were to break out. I'll send... Alright. We're going to start sieging back that fort. I'm not sure it's going to be necessary. Another disease outbreak. Ugh. Okay, Genoa has allied Austria. Again, this is bad. Some of our nearby potential targets are allying with large and impressive powers nearby. Our rival, in fact. How close are they to taking this? Pretty close. Alright, we've taken Constantinople. Let's see. Now, this is the diplomatic screen for a war. This tells us here that this is the entire attacking force, and this would be the entire defending force. In this case, we have no allies in the war or vassals, so it's just us. And on the other side, it's just Byzantium and their vassal, Athens. Normally, well, war enthusiasm can go from high to medium to low. Ideally, you normally want to get your opponent down to low war enthusiasm before you piece them out, because the lower their enthusiasm, the more willing they are to accept a peace deal. In this case, we have a rather large war score, so it's likely they'll take what we want, but in fact, in this case, they're not quite ready to. So, what I'm going to do is... This siege has just started. Well, that's not entirely true. I'm going to leave... that doesn't work. I'm going to wait a few days. I'm going to hope that Byzantium does not win this siege here. I'm going to reinforce this army, and then we're just going to go crush their army. And, you know, sort of give them a friendly reminder that we're the big dog. Right. Okay, the 7 stack can go there, though. That is unfortunate. Okay. The reason that's unfortunate is I derped, and now this leader is stuck here, and I would have to attack into the highlands without a leader. Well, we're going to do it anyway. We currently have the manpower to support that choice, and we have a pretty large numerical advantage. Again, we have more discipline, more morale. We take a -2 penalty. There is also a river here. Crossing a river, unless your leader has an equal maneuver, has a higher maneuver factor than the defender's maneuver factor will give you a -1 penalty to your roll. Now, roll is just another sort of factor in the damage formula. Oh my. Not an amazing heir. Certainly not as good as our current leader, but we'll name him below average. Yeah, so we took some losses, and in fact, I will see now if Byzantium is ready to accept our generous peace offer. They are not. Well, not a big deal. I will go down here and sink Athens' navy. Okay, what just happened here? If you shatter an army, remember shattering is getting an army's morale to 0, so they run away. If you can then catch that army to the point where they stop retreating before the end of that month, they will have no morale, and when you attack them, they will instantly be destroyed. The entire army, no matter how big it is, just completely destroyed. So we just completely obliterated the Byzantine army. They should be pretty ready to take whatever peace deal I give them. They won't exist anymore, so they won't need their money. And yes. So we will win this war. We'll have to pay 77 diplomatic power. We did not have claims on these other provinces, only on Constantinople. So we will have to pay diplomatic points equal to, I believe it's 3 per development level for each province. But we really want to expand quickly. We'll gain 13 prestige, which is quite nice. That affects the morale of our armies. We will gain aggressive expansion against our neighbors. This is a malice to our opinion, and if aggressive expansion gets large enough, a nation can join a coalition against you, which is basically an alliance that can, that does not take up an alliance slot for your country. So going too high can be very bad. Overextension, this is the amount of development we have that is not considered a core. So this will add unhappiness to our region, but we can sustain this. It will be fine. We will send demand. We will have finished this war, and we will call this an episode, and I hope to see you back next time for our continuing moves.